stars of the Zodiac show with me, Anastasia. The subject of our discussion today is a paper which raises very interesting issues like internet, race and feminism. Shoshana Magnet explores the world of alt porn in her paper entitled Feminist Sexualities, Race and the Internet, an investigation of suicidegirls.com. First of all, Magnet shows the method she is going to investigate the suicidegirls.com with. Then discusses the website's feminist leanings and liberator intentions. After it, she switches to the topic of cyberfeminism approaches to cybersex, both utopian and dystopian perspectives. Shoshana also did several assumptions on racism in cyberspace and how the female grotesque is racialized. And by the end of this article, author pays a quite big attention to the result of the commodifications of ethnicity and gender at the Suicide Girls. She also stated a serious argument in the conclusion that a capitalist emphasis on profit as a primary motive rather than on a critical feminist commitment to inclusivity and structural change means that the site uses new technologies to represent old inequalities. To help me examine the paper more closely, I have a panel of star signs that will use their unique qualities to help us discuss this interesting paper. Let me introduce you. Scorpio, Capricorn, Leo, Libra, Aries, and Cancer. Leo and Capricorn. As you have read the paper in depth as well, in your opinion, what are some of the topics discussed here, the theories that the paper has looked at?
Leo looked at the topics, and I feel that one of the main topics discussed is whether the Suicide Girls website really produces feminine commodity or whether it is a location for liberation of women. Another topic is that's highlighted in the journal is whether the male gaze and how it's been changed through the website. One of the examples of this is that in the pictures and videos put on the website, the women are in control. They're taking the pictures of themselves, and often there's a lot more emphasis on the face rather than the body, which shows that these women are intelligent and it's about their mind rather than them just being objects. And lastly, another one is the hegemonic femininity, that the website is a platform for females to share their opinions and have like a shared community online in cyberspace.
How about you, Capricorn? What do you think?
Me as a Capricorn, I looked at the theories, and some of the theories highlighted in the text are Seagal's theory, who talks about cyberfeminism, and he describes the two versions that are cyber-dystopian feminism and cyber-dystopian feminism. In the first case, cybersex is considered liberating, while in the second case, exploitative, and that has occurred through pornography. Then the discourse analysis is obvious through Magnet's text, as we can see women that have formed the groups and they discuss on the suicidegirls.com website. And then we got Bromberger, who suggests that a woman's body is a sex object, while a tattooed woman's body is a lascivious sex object. And also another theory is about hyper-masculinity and gender and how these are analysed throughout the text.
Interesting. So this idea of pseudo-feminism and the way in which ethnicity is commodified are all covered by the author. Scorpio, is there anything that the author has missed out, for example, a theory or a concept that could have been used?
I think in examining these ideas because what the author is also looking at is on the underlying concept of power, about who owns what and who has the power to do things and who has the power to make things happen. If we look in the online world, that's a very sort of blurred line in between the people that control the output of the content on websites and the people that actually create the content. It could have been probably better served as well exploring De Soto's ideas of strategies and tactics, and looking at Michel Foucault and theorists like that, because once you start understanding the concepts of the feminism in a dystopian and utopian sense, what you actually begin to see, as in the case of this paper, is these women are the ones that come and bring the content and put themselves up on this platform in suicidegirls.com. But in actual fact, what you then have is a power struggle of sort. Who actually are the creators? Who are the owners of this content? Are the owners of the website the ones that get enriched by these contributions? Are they actually empowering these women? Is there a case to be made then that there's some form of exploitation going on? Because once we see it once the author has established or examined this subject through those theories, then I think we start to see sort of patterns that are evident and that you see quite a lot with a lot of other online platforms where crowdsourced information is used for financial gain.
I see. Let's talk about some other concepts that apply to this study. How would you expand on the ideas raised by this paper? What would you say, Kantha?
I think one of the main ideas raised in the paper is Orientalism, which means the imitation or the representation of East Asian, most East Asian people in the media wrongly. And one main theorist that actually took this on board and wrote a book about it, which is highly criticized when it first came out, was Edward Said, and he defined Orientalism as the constellation of false assumptions on underlying Western attitudes through the Middle East. And basically the whole article is based on the representation of women as sex objects. Yeah, fair enough. And what the role Orientalism plays in the article is focusing on the ethnic, on the women who are ethnic in this suicidegirls.com community. And what Nakamura had to say about that was that gradually the gender society is gradually moving onto the web.
What would you add to it, Arias?
I would like to talk about the theory of commodification. As we all know, commodification is basically treating something inappropriate and treating it as if you're marketing a commodity. And we have a theorist known as Daniel Schiller, who asserts that the utopian promise of new information technology such as the internet are more likely to facilitate commercialization rather than democratization. This trend has meant that the wide range of differences has occurred with respect to the gay communities and communities of color. In addition to this, commodification of feminism is manifested on suicidegirls.com because Suicide Girls attempts to capitalize its apparent feminism.
Okay, how about you, Libra? What's your opinion on it?
I wanted to focus on feminism regarding the suicidegirls.com, and I believe that feminism is best presented by Judith Butler. She tries to prove that females nowadays they are exactly like men and they can do the same things and they are equal to them, but even though they are trying to portray this in suicidegirls.com, I'd rather say that they are being showed as not equal and they are being commercialized, like people are being paid to watch them and they get money for what they're doing, and the price they are getting paid is not even for a real model, because for example it said in the article that usually models are paid $200 an hour, but they are getting paid for everything they do from 100 to 200, which is really low. And also there are lots of theories where they are trying to explain that the woman is not treated as an object, but rather as like something sensitive and like something like a subject. But from what they are doing is just they are watching them, and that's it.
Okay, what else can you add to it, Leo?
I'll be looking at the representation in the digital world, and early on when the internet started out, it was declared in John Perry Barrow's Declaration of Independence of Cyberspace as a place where people could enter and participate without being judged on race, gender, creed, class, or anything of that sort. The website, however, is an anonymous platform, and we're not able to see correctly who is what in terms of race, gender. It's only the information that people post on there, and as stated by Nina Wakeford, the anonymity of cyberspace allows for people to be more open and honest than they would be in real life. Therefore, we can't really be sure that the information posted on there is right.
Do you have anything else to say about it, Capricorn?
Yes, I looked at race and identity, and race can be a difficult topic, in some cases uncomfortable. Race is a bodily and biological feature, and it's based on different genetically transmitted physical characteristics such as skin color or hair type and so on. And basically ideas of race are being said every day in online environments, and usually in digital media there might be social stereotypes and misidentification of race or lack of representation of minority groups. And in the journal Analyzed, and Nakamura suggests that when it comes to race and hierarchy online, there are racial social classes that apply just like in real life. And also you can see in the comments of the pictures that when there's someone that's not white, the comments may outline or discuss and point out their race and their identity.
Okay, fair enough. And how would you finish up on it, Scorpio?
I think looking at the entire idea of the internet as the medium that this community of people is allowed to exist can also be looked at through Marshall McLuhan's book and the theories, and the idea that the media is as the extensions of man. When you look at suicidegirls.com, its medium is the internet, and once you start revisiting the things that and the ideas that it's trying to portray and the ideas that it's trying to promote, it's about a niche community of people who find a place to express themselves in a way that they can feel they can identify with each other. But McLuhan examines the idea that if the medium is the extension of man, so the internet as a medium is an extension of man, what happens is what you get is an amputation or modification of some other extension. So suicidegirls.com allows these people to be able to do this and in their community, in a self-contained community, but then what happens to the actual sense of community, face-to-face communication, oral communication? All these things are lost, and we see the things like the comments in the comments section, where women are made to seem like commodities. But would this be existent if this community existed, let's say, in a typical conference or in a typical sort of a physical space? Those are the types of things and the types of ideas that we start to see and we start to question once we look at it through McLuhan's theories.
Interesting observations there, and I can see these are very much tied to the characters of your star signs. Libra, As a person that has tattoos and has piercings, what do you think and how does this make you feel?
As far as I'm concerned, the tattoos and piercing I have, it doesn't change how I think and what kind of person I am. So if I felt like this is what it representing me, it didn't mean that like it makes me similar to them, because I believe that the suicide girls, they did this in order to be part of this community, but this is just something that I felt it was like at the right moment, the right thing to do, and like this is how I expressed my feelings. So I don't believe it's something that I did it just to fit in a certain group, while them on the website, they can only go on this, you can only access this, like be part of this website if you like dye your hair in different colors and have lots of piercings and tattoos. So yeah.
Okay. Finally, let's look at how this type of research could be applied somewhere else or to other studies. Could you help us with this, Scorpio?
I think the practicalities of the research is quite easy to extend to things in the physical space, things in the workplace, and you know the types of ideas that of commodification and exclusion and things like that. You can even going back onto the internet, you can look at niche communities that exist on the internet beyond just the idea of feminism and sexuality. You have all sorts of sort of alternative communities that exist around different cultural elements on the internet. You've got things like music, you've got things like art, and all these sorts of communities have their own methods and their own ways and norms of doing things. I think that research, as applied by the author of the paper, is easily applied to those types of things as well, and a further understanding of what exactly happens, because I think what's happened here is that we've had an insight into the kind of these porn communities, and you've got all sorts of other alternative communities as well, and in physical spaces that can be examined in the same light.
That is all time we have for tonight. Let me thank my guests, Scorpio, Capricorn, Leo, Libra, Aries and Cancer. And until next week, may your stars align and the sun make all your dreams come true. Good night.